What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and today I'm going to show you all how I got BS0. Before we get into how I got him, I have been hearing some complaints about the Epic Quest, about how it's too hard to grind up these buffs, it takes forever. And what I want to say to that is, whenever the game was first released globally, and we had to do the episode 0 and episode 1 Epic Quest, these things took weeks to grind these buffs for. They took weeks. It took a long time for me to get enough buffs where I could, get through all these epic quests. And because we didn't have near as powerful characters at that time, we didn't have awakened characters, we didn't have translated battle cards, we didn't have any of these things. We didn't have imprint stones, none of that stuff. And we didn't have SS and BS characters, and we originally didn't even have collaboration characters when the game was first released globally. It was 3 weeks after it was released before we got some collaboration characters who at that time were just gold border characters. It was a Tekken collab, and they weren't even Fest characters. So I would argue that actually the Epic Quest is actually easier now in some respects when it comes to the buffs, because I've only been farming, these buffs ever since we got this update, the episode 2 buffs. And I've been able to get my buffs up to level 19, 18, and 18. And by the way, once you get these accumulated up to 40, when they add up all together, that's when you can actually fight Zero. And I did this in 4 days, guys. I mean, 4 days isn't that long. You just want to make sure that you have these characters, as strikers or on your team, so you can gain more of a buff gain. And that's all I did. So, I have a team set up around... Oh, spoiler alert right there. So as you can see here with this team right here, I got K on there. My face is in the way, but... BS Chrysalid is for the striker for Orochi, and then I have Maxima and Nameless to gain a buff gain. And all I do is, I just hit auto and just hit start and farm away. Now, it's really going to depend on how strong your characters are, how much CP they have, but I mean, they only require 25,000 CP. At this point in the game, that's not that much. If you don't have a lot of CP, you should be farming in these earlier stages. You should be using your strongest characters possible. If you have SS and BS characters, you should be using them. If you have characters that have a type advantage, for example, here we'd be facing a blue. So if you're using a purple character against this guy, they're going to have a type advantage. They're going to do 50% more damage, and they're going to take 50% less damage from these opponents. And since a lot of them have infinite armor, you can't interrupt their skills. And having that decreased damage received is really going to increase your survivability. That's all you got to do. That's all I did. I just sit and farm and farm and farm with the teams that had specific characters that are going to have a buff gain. There's no real secret to it as far as getting your buffs. I mean, it's pretty simple. Like for me, considering the character levels that I have, I was farming actually in Chapter 7 here, where we're going to be facing a yellow type. And look what I got. I got BS Orochi. He's a green. I got BS Geese, who's also a green. Now, Geese is just kind of like my backup, and I just let Orochi do all the dirty work. And because they have the type advantage, I just let them play on auto, and I just let it go all night, all day. Just let my phone run all the time, or your emulator, whichever you prefer, although emulators do tend to crash when it comes to KOF. And it's just that simple as far as getting your buffs. Now, as far as taking on Zero, once you get your buffs so high in the first episode, in Chapter 1, then you're going to start being able to farm in Chapter 2. Now, I mean, I'm just now, I got my buffs at level 19, level 18, 18, and I'm just now being able to really start farming in Chapter 2. Actually, when my buffs are around level 15, BS Orochi could actually do solos against these bosses, especially this one right here, Chapter 2, because again, it is a yellow typing, and he does have the advantage. But for this here, I would use this team right here because, now we got Zero, and then we have both Zeros, and we have Maxima to get our buff gain. And I would just use this team to farm for my buffs. Now, when it comes to Zero here, that you need 147,000 CP, which is just nuts. That is crazy. And this guy really is a real prick. He is definitely not an easy boss to face. So let me show you the team that I did this with. So this is the team that I actually did this with. And, 3 level 30 characters, all an SS team, right? You got Kyo for the leadership, the 60% increase to SS fighters. You got Iori, and then you have Mai. And having Iori on the team with Kyo does give Kyo a nice buff from his core effect. And then I got Neskio as a striker for SS Kyo, and then I have Rugal and Orochi. Mainly I'm using Rugal and Orochi because I have like 5 Imprint Stones of both those characters. And if you put card sets on your strikers, you're just going to gain a lot more CP. You know, you see that text in yellow. It shows 6060 for Orochi, and it shows 7139 for Rugal. That CP is added on to the CP of your actual damage dealer. So right now, my Maisie has 70,000 CP, but when you add that 6,000 CP from Orochi, she has 76,000 CP in total. So we are lacking big time when it comes to the amount of CP we need, but because we have our buffs at level 19, 18, and 18. I actually, by the way, the first time I did this clear, my buffs were around level 17. We were able to get it done. And it really just shows the power of these characters. Now, one tip that I can give you all is whenever you're facing Zero, you're going to want a yellow, a purple, and a red. Whenever this fight first starts out, they're going to require you to use a purple fighter. If you don't use a purple fighter, you're not going to do crap for damage. You need a purple fighter when you start off the fight. Then Zero's going to go in this phase where he's going to going into a super. He's going to do an elemental change. He's going to do a super, and every time when he goes into his elemental change, he's going to go into a red. And then after you use your red fighter for a little bit, he'll go into an elemental change again, and then you're going to need a yellow fighter. Now, it's going to ask you to use some burn, so that way you can slow down the PG gain from Zero, which is a really good idea because this guy will stun you, and he'll stun you no matter what. I brought in Rugal in here, and even though Rugal has immunity to stun, he still gets stunned. So the immunities don't work, so that's not something you can count on at all. And really all I did is I come here and I just pretty much just plowed away against Zero. I really didn't have no major strategy. I just used the right elemental colors that I needed, you know, a yellow, a purple, and a red when they were required against Zero, and then I just beat them up. And as far as the builds on the characters, you know, Kyo here just has 3 Imprint Stones. I don't even have 5 Imprint Stones on him. And we're going to go ahead and slap a card on old boy here. For some reason, I don't have one on him. There we go. And, you know, we're running about 75,000 CP. And then plus Nest Kyo's striker bonus, that's another 3,600. So we're near that 80,000 mark. And then for Iori, I also got an Akane set on him, I believe. And then I do have a Transcended card on him also. That does give an increased Bounty Fighter critical damage by 7.5%, which does help. By the way, you don't need Transcended cards. I mean, it's really going to be all about your buffs in the Epic Quest. The higher your buffs, the easier it's going to be for you to be able to do this. And then as far as Imprint Stones, just 3 Imprint Stones. All 3 of these characters are built exactly the same. They're all level 30. They all have max capsules. And they all have 3 Imprint Stones, and they're all running Akane sets on them. The only thing that might be a little bit different is the option card on them. You see 3 Imprint Stones here, and then Maisie has the Akane set with the option card right here that will allow you to do more damage and get you super armor whenever you drop in. That is pretty handy, honestly, and having that extra attack by 5%. That is pretty handy. Those cards also do add a little bit of CP. But you're going to want to use characters that have a lot of survivability. I mean, the DOA 6 characters, as long as they're the right color, they're going to be insane for this. I mean, they are going to be... I mean, you need a red. Neo Tengo has the best survivability in the game thanks to her shield. I mean, you got Paradise Honoka. Sorry, my bad there. So used to saying the name the way I previously used to say it. But she would be amazing for this because she has hyper armor and immunity. I mean, there's a lot of other characters that you could use as far as getting it done against this boss. But, you know, the SS fighters are amazing because, you know, like Kyo and Iori both have immunity cores, right? They just have a lot of survivability. And Maisie here actually has a decreased damage received on her 3rd skill. You know, she got decreased damage received by 50% for 3 seconds. And then whenever she does her 3 PG, she also gets another decreased damage received by 50%. Now, she's actually got a 3 PG that you could put on her where she actually gets a heal. So you could actually, you know, give her that. But there's all kinds of characters that you can do this with. I mean, SS Honoka, she's going to be amazing for this. You know, she does have burn. She is a yellow. And like I said, you need a yellow, a red, and a purple. Those are going to be the colors that you absolutely need for this. So let's jump in here and let's see how this goes. I mean, we are way below our CP amount. You know, combat power, including buffs, is about 90,000, and we need 147,000 CP. But really, I mean, you know, you're trying to avoid, like, there's going to be times where Zero's going to attack you, and you definitely want to dodge some of those attacks whenever your skills are off cooldown. But really, it's just, you know, plow away. Just destroy, apply as much damage as you can to this guy. Have your hyper armor up as much as you can. He's going to stun you no matter what whenever he changes colors. So we'll start off with our purple. Now you want to apply burn. Okay. You want to apply burn so that way Zero doesn't do his super as often. Come on, come on, come on. And see, right there, you're going to get stunned no matter what. There we go. It's kind of hard to talk and play at the same time. Okay. Oh, that bastard. There we go. Now notice I went over to the side. Wherever he does the super, you want to get away from him and get over to the side of him. Because if you're near that damn thing, you will get stunned and he'll do a little explosion and it's going to be a bad day for you. And see, you still get stunned. Come on, come on, come on, girl. Come on, come on, come on, girl. Come on, come on, come on. I will say that my Maisie does have a little trouble staying alive sometimes. I mean, remember, these characters are level 30. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And the beautiful thing also about this team is all three of them have burn. So it really helps keep old boy from doing his super as often. And we're going to get over here. Oh, man, come on now. I hit that second skill. Okay, get over here, get over here. There we go. And now Kyo's just going to do all this leg work for us. Stunning bastard. Woo! It's almost unavoidable to get stunned. I mean, it pretty much, like, it seems like you just get stunned no matter what. But obviously, the more buffs you have, the stronger characters that you use, the better. We'll apply a little burn. Hopefully, Iori doesn't die. Come on, come on, come on. Here we go. Come on, come on. Here we go. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We can do it, we can do it. I tell you what, even with my buffs the way they are right now, it's still sometimes a bit troublesome to do this. Damn it. There we go, there we go. You got to be careful, man. I mean, you're going to have to learn to dodge and try to avoid these attacks. And now our damage is crashed, so that means he's doing an elemental change. Come on, girl. We're going to get stunned. We're going to get stunned. We're going to get stunned. Come on. Come on. Yeah. See, we were right in the middle of that super right there, so we were getting stunned over and over and over. And that's really what you want to try to avoid. You want to get away from that thing. There we go, there we go. And that's kind of how you have to play it, man. You know, you want to wait sometimes for Zero to come towards you. You want to get away from him, go to the other side. Let him come to you and then just try to dodge him a little bit. And see, you just get stunned no matter what. There we go. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Woo! And boom, there you go. I mean, it's definitely not easy. It's a really tough boss, but I mean, it's just going to be like anything, guys, when it comes to Epic Quest. You know, you just get your buffs up. You know, if you're having trouble doing these, oh, nice, we kept all the fighters alive for the first time. If you're having trouble doing this, just keep working on your buffs. Just keep farming and farming and farming. That's really going to be the key. You know, having the right elemental colors. I mean, you don't even need burn. You can still do a lot of damage to this guy without burn. It's just burn's going to help keep from Zero doing his super as often. That means you're not going to get stunned. He's not going to explode on you as often. It will help if you have characters that do have burn. I mean, you don't absolutely need it though. I'm going to go ahead and collect this here. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. But, you know, just keep working on these buffs. I mean, even if, like, if you're having trouble in Chapter 2, do like what I did. You know, just start farming in Chapter 1, right? Farm at the, you know, least amount of CP as possible. Farm in Chapter 1, you know, right here. Well, I didn't want that to click on that, but farm in Chapter 1 or Chapter 2, you know, whatever chapter you can. Whatever your strongest characters are, whatever color they are, make sure that they have the advantage against the boss or against the stage that you're facing. That way it's going to be easier for them to get through these things. In 2 days' time, I unlocked Chapter 2 here. Just in 2 days. That's not that long, man. You know, compared to what the Epic Quest was like whenever it originally came to the global version of this game, this is really a lot easier. I mean, Zero's a lot harder. I mean, he's a pain in the butt. But when it comes to like getting your buffs, it really doesn't take that long. Just as long as you're using the characters that they recommend to put on your teams to get those buff gains, and make sure that you're using characters that have the advantage over the colors that you're facing in the stages or in the chapters, and you'll do just fine. But characters that have great survivability really are going to be amazing for that thing, because again, there's going to be times where Zero is going to stun you, and having like decreased damage receives, having those shields, I mean, it really helps. I mean, you know, the SS Kula, SSK, I mean, Kula's a blue, so you can't even use her. That really sucks. But K, you can, you know, Paradise Honoka, SS Honoka, SS Neo Tengo, like all those characters are going to be really good for this thing. And many others that I haven't even mentioned. And if you don't have any SS or BS characters, you're just going to have to get your buffs up high enough to where you can use the characters that are always available in the game. So I look forward to facing Chapter 3 in the Epic Quest, and let me know how your progression is so far. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT plus 7 time. The link will be in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.